Hey, this is Raj and Fede doing our demo and also just chit chatting company stuff. We're discussing Haley about how do we get Haley to do like real time fetches and stuff. So the proposal is that we have Haley respond with some JSON, and then there's the initial response, and then there'll be like another field that says needs more data, and then maybe some keywords that we fetch from to find the information. But we would need like a nice API to hit that can give us real time data. Something like Bard that has real time data because they're using Google's live indexes. Uh, in the beginning, we were doing like Fede spent a lot of time just doing weather, right?
Yeah,
just
it's not easy. Yeah.
yeah. So we have to have a generic solution, right? Where it's let's see here. There's Twitter API, News API, Everbright API, Google News API, Open Weather Map API. It's like I don't want to do just weather. It's got to be like some API that's smart enough to give us the information that we
Yeah,
need.
maybe to start, we could have like, I don't know if it exists, but just like give links to the user. I don't know if as I don't have this information, but you can check these links. So
It's just like a Google.
only
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
Google
I don't know.
search.
I don't know if I Google search, but yeah, I don't know the first results or something like that. Maybe that's
Yeah,
enough
that
to
could be
start.
a initial implementation. Like it's a one click. Here you go.
Yeah.
It'll take you right to it. Yeah. So why don't we do that? Just like super easy to implement. We just generate a Bing or Google link that we give to them. Um, but maybe we curate the link to have like exactly what they're trying to get to.
Right.
And then we'll get rid of that, and then we'll actually put in like a response. Like I want the weather without having to hit the Open Weather Map API. We use something generic that can get it. So there's 5 that Haley responded. So like I'm pretty satisfied now with how Haley is operating. Before it was just so painful.
Yeah.
So now Haley's like immediately thinking, and within 4 or 5 seconds, depending on what you're asking, she responds quickly. Did we had some fun with Haley? I don't know if you're ready the threads that in
Yeah.
uh, so we're having a good time with her. And now before I was like, I'm just going to use ChatGPT. I'm just going to use Bard. But since everything's when you're operating in Slack, it's just like having it there is just awesome. So I'm feeling good about the product, especially once we get semantic search going, which is something that I'm actively working on. I have the. Did you get a chance to look at the notebook?
Nope, not yet.
Yeah, I would share it like the screen and stuff, but we have secrets in the notebook. So
Okay.
um, like the open API key and the uh, Pinecone API key. So not gonna share my screen to show it to you, but if you look in your Google, your Upmortem email, you should have an invite. And so what you can do there, Fede, you'll see like our other colleague, he has just sections where he's doing it himself. Like he's using my code to load the information, and then he's be able to make modifications. In Notebook, you have this thing called playground mode. So it just makes it so whenever you do updates to your I don't know what you call it, page in your notebook, uh, it doesn't save. So you can just kind of play around with it, and then when you see something that
Oh,
works, copy that, move it into the get out of playground mode, just copy it over because you're like, yeah, that
nice.
actually improved it. So I'm actually surprised I didn't start using notebooks before more often because it's just like they spin up the VM for you. You can install whatever pip stuff that you need. It's really nice and it's free. We're not paying for anything there for the VM that is spinning up to run the
Oh,
stuff and everything. So
nice.
really cool. And even if there was paid, I'd paid whatever $10 or whatever it would be for be able to do it. So if you look at what our colleague is doing, he is uh, modifying the query to have keywords, right? So that way we get better hits. From my results, they're still garbage. Like I asked, like, what is project beta? And then everything, all the hits, it gives like a hit rate of 0.7 something. And they're not related at all to the query. Okay, so if anything, you return those as possible matches. It's like misinformation. So if you go in there, you can see. Here, I can actually, I just won't show the top part of this because it has secrets, but I can show you the other stuff. So let me share. Don't let me scroll too high. Start yelling at me. Otherwise, I have to go and change. So above this, I have like the initial setup of the keys and stuff. And then, you know, you hit play, it'll load all the Python stuff. So here I just, you know, using ADA for the embedding, which is like it's like 1,000 something vectors or something, you know,
dimensions, yeah.
dimensions, yeah. Fetching the channel, it'll go and fetch all the history, and then if it has more messages, it will create or just keep looping until it gets all the messages. And then fetching threads, summarizing it. So here, this is the problem that I ran into yesterday because we were having fun of those threads, and those threads are getting pretty long, right? Once you get like 80 to 100 messages in a thread, we overload this API. So we got to, and I believe you can chunk, right? You can have a thread of a chat, right? And then you just feed it chunks, and then you ask it for the summary at the end. Is that your understanding, or am I completely off?
I didn't get you.
So with the chat completion,
Yeah.
this API that I'm looking at, right?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, but it's the same. The limit is like 4,000 tokens. Doesn't matter if you.
Oh, it doesn't matter if you small chunk it.
No. You have to do it yourself if you want.
So we
You
would
will
have
need
to do
like to summarize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to do that. We'll have to like once the threads get bigger, we'll have to start doing summaries of previous 4K, and the next one you insert that summary, and then you just keep, and then at some point then you start summarizing multiple summaries, you know.
Yeah, it has to be recursive. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to do that because otherwise we get that weird error. Either that or we just truncate all the previous messages, but then that would suck because you would lose some, you know, the stuff that starts the thread is the stuff that's the most contextual, right? Like who asked what question. So we'll have to solve that before we launch. Do you have a card for that?
No.
So you can make a card for that. And here's where our colleague is doing, he can add relevant keywords to the actual query, right? We can even make it so, so he's not just taking the query as is, he's improving that query. So it's modifying the query and adding keywords. So we'll see if that helps, and I'm pretty sure that would help. Then I have this code here that goes and puts this should be add embeddings with some values and metadata, inserts it, so on and so forth. And here's where it's like, if you have the main message versus the thread message, and then you do the summaries, and then you insert these summaries in there. And then we have some sleeps because, and we have to be really conscious of this. And this is why we need to do load testing, is we will get rate limited by Slack. So I don't know if that's, I think it's per organization, right? So we need to stay within those rate limits from the organization. That's going to slow us down for the loading, but I don't know if there's any way around those rate limits. And so
Are we
here's
allowed? Are we allowed by Slack to store messages in some other place?
yeah, you just have to when you do your submission, you have to go and specify it. Right now, we don't do that because this is not implemented. But
No, no, yeah, I know, but
we have to specify in our
just in
data
case.
policy
Okay.
that we're storing. You know, we're going to be storing PII because we're storing the name of the person.
Because I know you can't like store messages and show it in a different website, for example. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
So I
we
don't know
won't.
if you can store them.
We can get around that by just doing the embeddings and then fetching. It's going to just slow us down, right?
Yeah.
So here I have my, what is project beta? All the messages, this is the backend channel that we have in Upboredom. All those messages are not related to this project beta. There's no project beta, right? So Haley should be saying like, hey, I didn't find anything about project beta. Maybe this is your other job that you're working. You're in the wrong Slack. So as opposed to the results that I do get. So I'm doing top 5. And you can see here, this one says, this is not related whatsoever. Conversation sys in async design. None of these are related, right? Then they have, these are, I would think these are high scores, 70, 76, you know, but they are not. So so the one thing that we can do is when we get the top K, and I think we should make more than, you know, top 5, maybe we do the top 20, right? Once you have those messages, then you throw those messages over to GPT 3.5 and say, is this relevant to this particular query? And in here, we need to have, in my playground that I'm working on, and this is actually I'm in playground mode right now, you'll see that I specify, don't want to go too high. I have summarized the following conversation, include the channel information, such as description, and usernames and actual names of the author of the message. So there, I think you get like the, you know, the user ID, which is like you, whatever. So we need to be able to convert those, or maybe we store it as the user ID, but somewhere we need to have a normalization so that we're always talking about the same person. And when we come with the response, right now, like you'll see my responses, they'll have the UID, unique identifier, in the response. There, see, this is not useful, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we need to address that as well. So I'm just gonna spend some time today to see if I can load in, you know, the actual username or the name of the person, and then also get the channel information.
I guess we should do that, like replace the username with the real name. I guess we need that only if we want to reply with that username, because if not, the model will still understand that it's the same person. I don't know, U03, it doesn't matter what the name is. As long as you're consistent, we can use the IDs in here.
That's what I meant by normalize, right? So
Yeah.
Before it hits the user should never see U03,
Right.
Q whatever, right? But the backend can use unique identifiers if it makes it easier. But when it hits the user, it better say Raj Chauhan, aka Raj in Slack. Because the questions that will be asked, well, here's the other thing is like, when I ask a question, I'm never going to query with this particular username. So I don't even think we should use these UIDs in the back, because we need to be able to map names to those embeddings. So in fact, I think, yeah, we shouldn't even be using these at all. And we need to convert them before we store them. And then no human is going to be like, what did U03QS9 say about Project Beta? You know?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
So we'll have to normalize it to be the user, name. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to do like nicknames. That's a little of a bit of a stretch because it'll have like, my name was Navraj in Slack, but then everybody talked about me like as Raj, and they say, "Hey, what did
Yeah.
Raj say about Project Beta?" Um, should our stuff be smart enough to be like, actually, we know whose nickname is what? Uh, maybe that's like a way later improvement. We can do aliases and stuff. So just that this is where I'm doing my playground thing. I'm gonna keep loading certain channels, doing queries. As you see, the results suck right now. But it's just gonna return top K. It's gonna return you top whatever amount of messages, regardless if they're good or not, right? So this is why we have to have that filter of some intellect that says like these are not relevant. And this is why the summary has to include the channel information. It's got to include maybe who said what. And even the messages themselves, when we load the messages, they should have the channel information. They should have who said what. Just because to make this a good search, we just need to have, and we're not really doing semantic search. We're pretty much doing like question about anything about your organization, right?
Yeah.
So every embedding has to have some sort of context. Otherwise, we're going to have crappy results. So that's what I'll do today. And let's see what else I had. I talked with Impact. They're going to send over technical like query, like what are we doing for our stack? We're going to do some work on our side to track. It's like if our partner uses a unique link, we're going to probably send them to like the billing page, right? So I don't want to do anything in the Upmordon website unless we like screw our partners over. I don't want to screw our partners over. Like if they are legitimately getting us sales, they should get compensated. So we might have to do it in Upmordon too, just to track their link all the way through. And so so negotiated, our sales guy is Ben. He's like, I have the ability to discount 10% myself. And so, all right, let's get that. And I'll send it over to Mike, and maybe Mike can negotiate it even lower. The cost is not that crazy. As we grow, they get paid more also, right? So they have this notion of you pay a minimum amount of money, X dollars, and then if you go over, you pay a 20% like hit. And then you can always go and pay the next tier. So instead of $10, it becomes $20, and then your overage charge becomes a smaller percentage. Okay, so but they're not taking a cut.
Oh, okay. I think Stripe can handle like refers or something like
Yeah.
that.
So Impact does have like let me send it to you. They do have integration with Stripe, so they will manage who's driving what sales and what kind of cut they should be getting. We just need to instrument, put in the little bit of JavaScript or whatever to track that all the way through. And then on top of that, we need to be able to manage which users we give certain coupon codes, right? So if you're a large organization, you're going to be asking like, hey, I'm bringing in 1,000 Slack users. I'm not going to pay, your $4 a person cost or $7 a person cost. I want tiered, bulk discounts. And so we'll work with the partners to be like, hey, here's your particular coupon code just for you. Don't use it for any other customers, just for that particular customer. And then we'll track it all the way through. So let me send you this. This was. I'm looking for the Stripe. Was it someone else? How do I do a attachment search?
No idea.
As attachment, all right. Let's see, is there anything there? Oh, it must have just been a link. Stripe. Okay. So I'll forward that to you. Take a look at the link and you can see it's pretty long, so I don't know how involved it'd be. But we're gonna give them, our tech stack, Stripe, Webflow, React, Python backend, and then they have an initial fee that they charge for setup, which I, already negotiated down on the low end of the cost. But then, we're just like, hey, most of the work is going to be on our end. We're not asking for you guys to do anything, so we'll try to negotiate that down too. But I'll throw it over to Mike to handle negotiations.
Okay.
And what else? I've reached out to other platforms too that are like Impact, because not all. Oh, and he gave me the demo yesterday, and I was looking at the demo. You can search for people that are in the field of AI that are like influencers. So we'll reach out to them. It's going to be a pretty lucrative offer for them if they can get signups and get paid. We're not going to pay anything for free trial. If some free trial becomes a paid, they get paid, right?
Yeah.
He was showing me some
Makes
examples of ones that do they pay like a penny for free trial sign up, but really it's like if you're paying, then you get paid. So there's a few other platforms that are just like Impact that, I can imagine that these influencers are not on every single platform. They might pick a particular platform that they're on. So we'll start with one, we'll see how it works, and then expand from there. So I set up, man, I'm having deja vu. I feel like I've said this before. Have we talked about this before?
No.
And then
I think you mentioned something on Slack, but that was it.
Yeah, so we'll glitch in the matrix, right?
Deja vu. Yeah.
The cat's walking by over and over again.
The other day I was. Oh, this is totally off topic. The other day I read something like deja vus are like half of your brain like catching the information before the other half. So you think you already seen something, but it's just microseconds, and it's just because one half of your brain is slower than the other, and you are like perceiving like you already seen something.
You're seeing it twice.
That was cool.
One side of the brain seeing it, and the other side of the brain seeing it. It's like this has happened before.
Yeah.
So there's two different platforms that I reached out to. I saw another startup that's doing stuff for like expanding sales and stuff. So I signed up for that. So I'm gonna be getting demos from different places and seeing what can, our main thing is ROI. What's gonna return, money on investment. So, and I think that's it. I want to submit Haley. It's fast. Once we have the app home message and we get that down, then I'll submit. But I'm also like, maybe we should wait for production, because if we mess it up as they're doing it, then we're gonna have a harder time.
Yeah.
Production update. Alice is working on terraforming the load balancer. So before she hand jammed it, now she's actually going to do Terraform for that part of it.
Nice.
Most of the stuff, the previous scripts kind of had some like develop up hard coded in there. And so she's doing another branch. So she'll have a production branch in the Terraform scripts that just launch production. Because if she ran the existing script, it will destroy our existing environment.
Okay.
So she's working on that. I'm helping her whenever I can. And that's it. And I'm gonna try to do basketball drills, even with my broken body. See if I can get some build up I think practice alone is really just about, once you have the movement down, it's all about confidence. So
yeah, it's all in your mind.
Yeah. So that happened when I played before I quit, because I hurt my knee, and then I just fuck it, get out of here.
No.
All my jump shots were missing, but the morning, so there's like open runs at this gym over here. It's like a Westmont College at 6 a.m. So it's like 20 ballers that come out there and play with varying different degrees of skill. A lot of people are tall, like it's a little more competitive there. And there I went this Tuesday, and there was like a kids camp happening. So like, oh, it's not happening. And they're having it till the 30th. So like, I'm like, actually, this is good. This gives me time to practice.
Yeah.
Build up my confidence, and then I'll come at it again. So, but I need to practice. I didn't do any sports yesterday, but I did do volleyball 2 days ago, and that beat up my knee. I like took a spill. So, old age, man. But I'm doing this like minerals and nutrition supplement that was like highly regarded by like this naturopathic doctor on TikTok. I'm also doing like omega-3s and stuff now. I recently got that. Then I'm doing that NMN thing. If you haven't heard of that, that's
the whole alphabet you have.
yeah. So my body's like, what the fuck is all this shit? What do you want me to do with this? I'm just gonna pass it through. Taking fiber, like I'm like just loading up my body with stuff. I'm hitting the gym in the morning. I did back and buys this morning. Then I have this, and I posted an Instagram post of Kirby, but with like buff arms and buff legs. And then my caption is like, when you work out, but you can't say no to cookies,
Right.
So just like buff fat guy. That's me right now. Hopefully I can start to cut down. And then another thing I was saying was, if you fast, if you do like a 1 or 2 day fast, your HGH, human growth hormone, spikes like 2,000%. So which is apparently it's super expensive. Like if you want to get injections of this stuff, it's like Sylvester Stallone, right? He's a really old guy, but really buff because he's doing like injection stuff. But you can get it naturally just by fasting. So, but fasting's tough because I like to eat. All right, you got demo. We want to show the flow, all the.
Yeah, I can show a few things. Share entire screen. This one. All right. Can you see it?
Yep.
So first of all, you now can use your same email for multiple accounts. So if you have like multiple workspace with the same email, you can manage all of those. You just need to log in with the right workspace. You will see this here. So that's the first thing. Then let me install the app. Well, now when you click on this,
let's go back here. So when you signed in with that, shouldn't it have already gone through the install process?
No, because maybe your app is already installed. If you do like the regular flow, if you're coming from our you will first install the app and then log in. So I just log in right now.
Okay. This is more of a rare case, but a lot of people have multiple Slack, workspaces. I have my HOA one, which I want to install Haley and see if I can get anybody using her.
Right. And now we also, when you click here, we already select your workspace. So we will use this theme. You won't see this drop down here. So we already know you want to install it on this workspace. So that's one improvement. And then if you have it installed, instead of saying like add to Slack, you will see go to Slack and you can open Slack.
Nice. I'll take you right to Haley.
So I tried that. According to the documentation, it should work. It should take you to your app if you use your app ID. That didn't work. I don't know why, but it will take you to your workspace, to the right workspace. For
Do you
now,
think it's
I will
a
keep
bug?
working.
Should we
I'm
report
not
it to
sure.
Slack?
Yeah, I will keep working on that. If I don't have any luck, yeah, I will report the bug. What else? On the pricing, you will see a badge right next to your current
You gotta
plan.
make it bigger font.
Okay.
It's gotta like pop.
Okay.
As big as the font that you're using for where it says free.
Okay. What else? Well, Haley is fast again. That's the most important thing.
It's usable. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Yeah.
So just to recap some stuff we're gonna do, we're gonna not show name of the organization or something, right?
Yeah.
We're going to, okay, so you have to go to Slack. That's fantastic. And then we're going to, when you do the installation, you're going to get a modal saying a prompt to upgrade. And also like the flow, when you go through it, the billing landing page flashed for a second. That needs to be fixed. What else? Mike had pointed out some stuff, right? I think you fixed that where we tell you it's per month. I saw that fix.
Yeah. We need to add the home tab. Yeah, this is what we have on our backlog.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
When you add Haley to a channel that she comes out and says like, hey, I've been added to this channel, this is what I can do. I think you have that somewhere. I'll send message when added to Chip. You have that. Yeah, just keep working on the list. I'll keep cranking out on the, thanks to the demo. I'll keep cranking out on the semantic search. I really want, just Yura to own it, and he makes the best possible semantic search. But I will also try to find tricks and stuff or issues that I find with the search. Because like I said, search sucks right now.
Yeah.
So these guys must be doing something to make their search good. We don't have it yet, so we need to get that in there. But I think
it'd be nice in the future. It'd be cool if we can not only search like messages but also files. So if there's a file,
your Confluence, your Google Drive,
yeah, or just files you shared on Slack. Maybe we could like embed those files, and then.
We can do so much shit. We just gotta hunker down.
Baby steps.
Yeah, get the. I mean, you're doing a great job of just streamlining the install process, and lots of big guy that's like, you need to tell me what to do next. Like you can't just take me somewhere. You have to tell me what to do next. You give me suggestions to progress, right? So even when you have the paid for version of Haley, we should be doing our next thing like, hey, semantic search is here. You gotta go, if you do this and this, you're gonna get the ability to do awesome queries in your organization. And then we'll do all the other shit, we'll brainstorm the next big thing. So we got our go-to-market strategy, we got our engineering strategy, we got a lot of stuff lined up. I think I'm feeling pretty good about it. I don't know, how are you feeling?
Yeah,
So
I'm feeling good.
yeah, I think
We're really close to have something good.
something really good. Yeah. So it's all good vibes on my end. I'm like pretty excited, right? Like because we've been at this for a while now, so
Yeah.
we need to get something out there. And but it's like Nintendo. You can't rush games. Like if you put out there like Cyberpunk, they came out,
Oh.
had a lot of issues. They've improved the hell out of it since,
They
but
said it's really good now.
yeah. But it took a lot of iterations.
Yeah.
But there's probably a big customer segment that like tried it and like this is fucking garbage. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
do
I
it.
never grab it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So net new people, they see the good stuff that they've iterated on to fix all the issues. Um, we want to just have a really good first impression, and that's what Lot was also pushing. I was like, if I go and use some software and I have a bad time, I'm going to look at competitors, before I come back to you. Only if you're my only option am I going to come
Right.
and look at you. So we're not. There's so many chatbots. The internet is on fire with chatbots. There was an article that I read about startups having a really tough time in the chatbot space to raise funding now because it's flooded, right? So, we're bootstrapped. We're not gonna give up
Yeah.
equity. We're so close. We don't even need money, right? We just need to get things done and get it out there. So feeling really good. And I think that's it on our. And then the next, as we get out semantic search. So once we really feel good about the whole flow, the prompts, and all that sort of stuff, we'll have you start working on the infrastructure side for semantic search, right? Like how do you do background jobs and that sort of stuff. We'll have Alice do the Terraform so it spins up properly, and
Okay.
then we need to do a little bit of a spike of like what's the best architecture, right? So we talked about like functions versus running it in the existing container. Our containers are going to be underutilized because most of the time they're just outbound call, right? And the intelligence is in the APIs we're calling. We're not doing anything sophisticated on our side. So our code is pretty simple, open source for everybody to look at. So, I was going to ask you about this. How do you feel about open sourcing our billing backend? Is there anything there that's proprietary? It's pretty simple.
I don't think so. I can check. Yeah.
We do good management with secrets. There's
Yeah.
like, so if someone wanted to, they should be able to do a Haley competitor. They're going to lose, of course, but if they wanted to, they could go and spin this
Yeah.
up themselves and run it. And we have a very restrictive open source license, which is AGPL. So that says if you take my code and you modify it, no matter what you do with it, you have to open source it also. And so like Google built a business on open source, right? Mass majority of the code over there, they're using open source stuff, but they don't release the modification. They optimize the shit out of the GPL code, okay?
Right.
Which is a very restricted license also. But since they're selling it as a service, they don't have to open source it. But AGPL says you modify my shit in the back end and you use it as a service, you can still have to open source it. So, so a lot of companies would look at that and be like, no, we can't use AGPL, and that's fine. If someone in China wants to run our stuff, I mean, we couldn't even enforce it anyway. So we're not going to go to China and start suing people.
Not a chance.
Yeah. So, all right, feeling good. Keep it going. We'll get you onto the next project once we really feel good about this, and then I'll keep working semantic search. I'll keep working with Alice on the DevOps stuff. And do I have any demos coming up? I'm waiting for Ben to get back to me about the contract and the tech assessment, and we'll go from there. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks, Raj.
Fede.
Bye bye.